Hey everybody, this is your boy Phozzy. He's the guy that's probably not cool enough to call himself your boy, but he's gonna try it anyway. So some of you may have remembered, a few months ago I had this intention on starting a YouTube channel. Unfortunately, right around the same time that project started, my life got pretty chaotic and pretty exciting. So I figured a good way to reintroduce the YouTube channel was to talk about one of the things I've been spending a lot of my time and energy doing somewhere else, and that's working towards my career. Some of you may know I am a web developer. Genuinely something I enjoy doing. I would like to shed some light on. It's a side of me I haven't talked about much, and I'd like to kind of touch base on that a little bit. Initially got me interested in computers. We had to do a capstone project which showed that we were capable, professional, and effective problem solvers. The goal of this project was for us to demonstrate a professional skill that we would be effective, successful adults. I never really thoroughly had an interest in computers from a really deep understanding standpoint. I used to make a lot of goofy videos and YouTube poops and things like that, but I never really looked into them. And I was at a graduation ceremony and I was talking with my mom, and she just turned over and looked at me and said, hey, why don't you do anything with computers? She's like, you're always playing with your computer, you're always doing something with it. And for me, I didn't really have an answer to that question. So I'm like, you know what? It's like, I need a project, I need something to do, let's just do it. So I did it. That night when we got home from that ceremony, I went on YouTube and basically just typed in, how to design website, parentheses, in code. I started watching some videos on some really rudimentary basic stuff, the really simple basic stuff. And after sitting there for a few hours, scratching my head a little bit, I was able to make a website. And my first website I ever built, it had a picture of my favorite car on it, it had a paragraph talking about why I liked it, and I put my own custom color themes on it. As soon as I did that, it just clicked in my head. I'm like, this is super fun. This should not be this fun. That following Monday, I went into school and I told my teacher, and I said, hey look, I got an idea for a project. I started looking into designing websites and I want to build a website that the school can use. And I thought of the idea of building a website that showcases student projects. So I did it. I did it. I spent a lot of time on YouTube, Stack Overflow, all those websites. Man, I was just trying my best and I was stumbling through it. And through that entire process, I kept thinking, this does not even feel like work to me. I loved doing this. So after graduating high school, what I did is I enrolled in a local tech school, and they had a web software development program. That helped me solidify the basic level of pretty much everything that I got, and having those letters behind my name with my degree and some of the projects I built through school, that was enough for me to be able to break out and get my first job as a developer. Now, I don't want to be one of the people that debunks everything and says, do not go to college, because it teaches you just the basics. That's really about it with my school. I can't speak for every college, but that's how my experience in college was. Basically, what I'm trying to say with that is you can go to college. It's not a bad idea. It really sets you up for a good basis, but you do not have to go to college to be a successful developer. I have a friend who just studied on a free course online and he just got a job as an engineer. All that they really generally care about is if you can show them you know what you're doing, you're good. But I was just going to talk a little bit about what do I need to learn. Let's assume that you're starting from ground zero. Basis of how websites are built is in two languages called HTML and CSS. HTML is how your website structure is laid out, and CSS is what defines the style. Then you have interactivity and adding the logic behind it to where the website thinks and does stuff on the front end, which is done as JavaScript. And then you also have what's called the back end, which is when you deal with processing information, setting, retrieving information from the database. That touches on other technologies for backend, like Node.js, PHP, Ruby. A good way to paint a picture of this is think of a restaurant. You walk up to the waitress and she says, hey, what would you like? Well, I want a hamburger. Takes your order, goes to the kitchen, tells the kitchen, hey, this guy ordered a hamburger. All that stuff happens in the kitchen. They get your burger, and then the waitress will bring it out to you. Being the customer, you don't care what happens in the kitchen. All you want to do is walk in, tell them you want the burger, and they bring it to you. That is the front end of web development. That is the subset that interests me. That's what I'm going to talk a little bit more about. So to be able to start with front end, you need to master HTML and CSS. Those are going to be your two foundations. That's what is the main structure of the website. That will be the base. That is the absolute foundation. To add logic, add interactivity, dynamic elements, that's when you need to get into JavaScript, which is another big one. You need to focus on those three: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Those are pretty much the most important things you're going to touch. The more advanced level of front end is really heavily invested in JavaScript. So enable to make a pretty dynamic website with fancy features and all this stuff, you're going to want to know how to make those. And JavaScript is going to be the way you're going to deploy that and put that into action. Another area is if you have a knack for graphic design, if you're artist in any sense of the word, you will probably thrive in front-end development because it's a very creative and a very artistic kind of thing to get into, because it really is built on creativity at its core. Kind of on you to design something that they're gonna, enjoy, have a good experience with, and be able to use effectively and not get confused or distracted or anything like that. Master those three, make some pretty websites, and just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Build up a portfolio of websites and projects that you've done and show those to people. And create your own personal website, which you can show links to those. That does is that shows that you know how to make a website. What's probably going to be happening is you're going to be having an HR person running through your website saying, hey, is it pretty? Does it work? Does it make sense? If you hit yes on those checkboxes, then you're probably going to get an interview. Post your projects on GitHub. GitHub is a place where developers can publish their code and share it, and you can just kind of showcase your work. Developers can get in there, look at your source code, they can copy your projects, and they can also contribute if you have an open source project, which is another great way to build your portfolio, is getting on board somebody else's project, making a change to it, and then uploading it and posting it in there. So another important piece to GitHub is it kind of keeps track of how active you are. You continue to work, you continue to study, you're always producing. And that shows that you're continuously learning and you're always pushing something else out. After you kind of get those basics down, it's pretty much a snowball effect from there. Start looking at ways that you can build on top of that with more advanced functionality, such as JavaScript frameworks like Angular, React, and Redux together are very, very big and very, very much worth a lot of money in the industry right now. Focusing a little bit more on backend, but Node.js is another technology that's emerging. CSS preprocessors like LAS and SAS are pretty important right now. Those are some pretty hot button. Everybody likes those. Those really expedite the design phase of a website. Bootstrap is very important, and that's a framework that allows you to make your website dynamic and lets you create a pretty website very quickly. You may overlook it as a developer, because you want to write code, but learning a content management system is something that's very important as well, because that's something that can help you with a client project or essentially somewhere else along down the line. Focus on one of those, particularly WordPress, if I would suggest so myself. I hope that from a 10,000 foot view, this kind of points you in some form of positive direction as to what you can learn and what you can do to get yourself going in the direction of a web developer. This is a very broad overview because there is a lot to learn. I've been studying almost consistently nonstop for 3 years, and I still don't feel like I've broken out of the upper echelon of beginner level. A couple takeaways I'd leave with that: don't get discouraged. Trust me. I've heard people say this from beginner level all the way up to advanced level. We're professional Googlers at best. Do not get intimidated if you cannot memorize syntax. That's another thing, because I cannot tell you how much time I spend on Google. No human being can purely memorize syntax or be completely fluent without any form of reference. Another thing, the stereotype is not true whatsoever. If you are focusing on software development, you will have to talk to people. I spend probably 40% of my day in front of the computer and 60% just communicating with my team, communicating with clients, and all of that. Last thing I would say about it is it's definitely not easy. Like I was saying before, the front end of the development, it's not necessarily the hardest subset. That does not discount the fact that you need to work hard, you need to work consistently. If you are a person that gets discouraged, if you are a person that likes to learn something, say good enough and go, this is not for you. If you're the person who likes to work hard, continue to learn every single day, and just keep on rinse and repeat and practice and practice and practice and make your work perfect, you will have a fantastic time. And you'll probably get a job that pays pretty well, and you'll probably have a pretty cool office with like a ping pong table or something someday. Just say you might be one of those guys. Alright, so that's really all that I got for you. I'm definitely going to start putting some more videos out here. We're making some more furry related content. This is just kind of me, talking about something I was, really passionate about, and something I've been focusing a lot of creative energy into lately. So I felt like it wouldn't be right for me to not talk about something, to kind of push some of that energy out and get some excitement going for this again. All right, so I'll leave you with that. Leave a comment or subscribe down below if you want. Feel free. If you're a hater, you can hate on me. I don't care. You can leave some hate. That's cool too. So with that, I'll let you go and just stay tuned, and we'll have some more videos coming up shortly. All right, see you guys later.